Don, like, the first thing you're supposed to know about dealing with abnormalities is not to get attached. We've seen the work. Stop getting attached to it. Hey, welcome back to more Limbus Company. I'm SlayerMathis, and last time we finished off the miracle in District 20, and this time we might be starting to yield my flesh to clean my bones, but first things first, we got to level 120. There's a Honglu announcer, which I will not be going into, or not be equipping, because it's post-Canto 8, in terms of its, how it says things. But we will grab, here's the Tarnished Blood Honglu. Nice Vav Ego that is very strong. It's also one of the most unique Ego out there. It only hits himself and gives him Flower Burying Wedge. Everything becomes unbreakable. Well, okay, everything on the leftmost attack of this unit. So the first attack that this unit does, that Honglu does. But when he reaches 1 HP, he will, at the end of the turn, use a very strong move. The end does a butt ton of damage and a lot of rupture, and just a lot in general. It's very good, but also I need to play around with it a little bit more. That'll be something for my main account, more rupture, or dealing with rupture in general, rather. Have another Walpurgis pull. This will probably end up being my last one. Oh! Oh! Phil Clare! Dawn off of Sinclair. We'll get into that in a moment, but first things first. Did get enough shards to get Gregor up to the 400 plus, so we will grab Edgar Family Heir. He's seen better days. Last thing we just need to get is Butler Otis. Do not have much level up stuff. I'm gonna have the level 50 ticket, but I mean, I could, but get time and a half. Let me. I think this is it's what, 2 and 6. I think it gives exactly. So, I can. Well, I suppose I can wait. I'll figure out what I want to do with that later. Dawn off of Sinclair is a very unique identity in that, once it reaches 40 SP. He will go into the volatile ego state, where all of his attacks will get more powerful. So he reuses the coin on Fierce Charge, becomes an attack weight on Sunset Blade, and Stigmatize becomes Blazing Strike, which is, I think it ends up rolling higher than Mutilate. I believe, I want to say it's the highest rolling skill in the game, is Blazing Strike, because I think it ends up being like I want to say it's like a 20 plus 15, but yeah, very good burn, and like it's not a great identity when it's not an ego, but when it does get into volatile ego, it is very strong. And very good for for burn. Then we'll go over to Edgar Family Heir Gregor. Sinking. And the big thing that he has is Nightmare Hunt. He can absorb 10 sinking from the target in order to get extra power for his next turn. You can inflict a lot of count on after attack, on stagger or defeat. Actually, just a lot of counts on the 2 as well. Again, very good sinking identity is Gregor family heir. I don't exactly know like what the general quote like the meta for not bleed for sinking is, but I believe family heir Edgar Gregor has a different name, but I don't want to get into spoilers for that, so I won't say the usual name that family heir Gregor gets for a little bit, just because they refer to him by character. I would really like to get up to 100. I suppose I can just, like, we don't need Yisang shards anymore. We'll go and, I mean, you know what? I don't particularly usually like doing this, but I'm not going to do that. Also, it doesn't help that it takes a little while. Yeah, I don't like doing the skips, but it's just we are so far behind on levels for a lot of characters, and it's not quite worth it to use our up to level 50 ones. Oh, Jesus. Okay, we're good, actually. We'll be good for the time being. God, Gregor sometimes is a handsome man, I must say. What a handsome young lad. There are things in this world one could never grow accustomed to. The bizarre tangs of the dregs, the broken piece of tea leaves from the last filled teacup from the pot, the disappointing flavor of lukewarm Scotch whiskey diluted from melted ice, and the taste of the nightmares that continue to haunt me, despite my hatred of them. That awful dream, visited by the one I abhor most, the beast that took my little sister and destroyed my family. The cunning, cruel wolf who took so much from me that I can't even recall what he's deprived me of. The one who took my arm and left me to wear the shameful, hateful arm. The wretch that took not my arm, but not my life, leaving me out to live this abominable life. He never arrives alone. This nightmare I'm beset by foes on all sides with no escape in sight. Is this the true magnitude of my fear? A body born weak and ailing, a body that forced me to struggle tooth and nail just to survive those that seek to harm me. I cannot conquer the fear from the source. I aim with the sharpened tip of my saber and stab them all with the gloom-tempered swordplay I've trained my entire life in. That nightmare always haunts me with my flailing defeat, its conclusion distant and unreachable. As the dream draws to a close, I come to a certain understanding. That once again I am the robbed one, the one deprived of even a chance to struggle. Then I awaken from the nightmare. I struggled desperately to escape the yoke of my weak constitution. I couldn't simply continue to live in my parents' glory. There are far too many vultures circling me for a chance to take my place, my wealth. I cannot appear weak before them. I went out to wield a blade, trained my body. I grew far too familiar with that pain that ravaged my lungs, and my damnably weak body cared not for my determination, pressed upon me with such cruelty. But that's how I protect what is mine, when I get my hands on. Good home, quality clothes, delectable food, my inheritance. Once I even found myself absorbed in that presumptuous belief that I may have to overcome the curse I was born with. But there was something that completely slipped my mind. The vagabond I saw, that tempestuous manner. The resentful eyes of that ill-tempered vagrant, burning with hatred behind his wet, ragged hair. He appeared before me, as I was still drunk on delusion. Just then I could see my fear reflected in his eyes, my fear that he is here to take everything I have. He cut off my arm in the blink of an eye. I don't even want to think back to this memory. Merely recalling that memory makes my stump ache. I feel the bitter taste of stomach acid rising up my throat. But I won't be defeated like this. He wants to play hide and seek, does he? Very well. She'll have it. To sever this nightmare from me, this intangible terror, the woman hunt must begin. Just slaying the source of horror with my own hands is the only way to free myself from it. This is maybe the most miserable Gregor, which is saying something because a lot of Gregors have terrible lives going on, but even for Gregor standards, that one's pretty rough. The second Walpurgis Knight. We'll grab you, we'll grab you, grab you, grab you two, and then we'll end up grabbing Butler Faust as our last piece. This is green lights blinding our eyes and loud alarms rupturing our eardrums. I've gotten used to it by now. I've been rested from my refuge of sleep once again. Thanks to the alarm, listeners began waking up one by one from their naps. Walpurgis Night has descended once again. Even amidst the chaos, Faust remained calm as ever. She walked up to the helm and shut off the alarm. Already? I thought it was supposed to be a really rare occurrence. Yes, it is a rare occurrence, but its frequency is not something we can reliably predict. I guess going back to sleep's out of the question now. So there's a chance it goes off next week too? The possibility is there, yes. Yet I don't believe that would happen so soon. It takes some time for Mephistopheles' engine to resonate. Faust, who was busily interfacing with the device, suddenly, while answering Roger's questions, came to a sudden stop. What's up? Something wrong? No, everything is under control. It's within the predictable range of variables for one such volatility. I merely paused to contemplate how to explain this to you and the rest of the sinners, Dante. Considering that this will be a new environment for all of you, that is. New environment? I looked at her curiously, but I did not voice my concerns. She started walking toward the back door. Faust was not going to answer my question anyway. It said that the picture's worth 1,000 words. In this case, a first-hand experience. Knew it. Thus our humdrum daily lives are spruced up once again. You know, wasn't all that long ago you were scurrying all over the cabin placing weird decorations everywhere. Don't tell me you're already tired of it. Forsooth, I believe that we've had more than enough celebration for that occasion. Dante, please lead the way. The bored sinners seemed to find this new possibility of adventure somewhat exciting. They slowly got up from their seats with enthusiasm. We again made our way to the back door. Dante, the door in which this volatility occurs is in the direction of the dungeons. So we gotta head towards my room. Yes, please open the door. She did say something about the corridor changing depending on who opened the door. I walked across the corridor trying to recall what Faust once told me. Nice, we're not going to the restricted zone this time. Unlike the other time we had to, while off duty, jump to the rescue of some dumbass who decided to saunter in there despite the repeated warnings. Won't do it again, alright? I've gone against the warning twice already. Far from the most trustworthy singer among us. Agreed. I have done it only once, in case that weren't aware. Shut it, you! I'm starting to enjoy this raucousness amongst the sinners. Hoping that this camaraderie will last for a long, long time, I turn the handle and open the door. Oh. That door. Right. The door transformed into an oddly familiar shape. So it's one of those doors we saw back one of the Lobotomy Corp branches. It is identical. It appears that different shapes are overlapping in the door, but all of them are the same design. Correct. The overlapping shapes are more clear evidence that the Walpurgis Night has returned. The opening now. The door creaks open and another corridor appears before us. Still listen to the Lobotomy Corp branch, innit? The longer I look at it, the more familiar it becomes. This place definitely looks a lot like those Lobotomy Corp branches we've been to. Oi, Smartass! You just pop open the door leading straight to one of the branches while we're doing this tour bus business. And we wasn't time enough out here? There are numerous inaccuracies in your statement that must be corrected. I will tackle them in reverse order of your presentation. First, Walpurgis Night is an unpredictable event that not even I could predict. Based on our entire operation, such an unstable element would be a plan most foolish. Suppose that's true? Let's try to think about it before we speak, okay? Heathcliff scowled at Roger's remark, but soon grew dejected once he noticed that the other sinners were nodding in agreement. Well, I won't completely deny the possibility of pursuing that method. However, I must clarify that this is not a real Lobotomy Corp branch of the city. Merely results from Walpurgis Night's mutation of the corridor. Therefore, I can say with quite certainty that this does not align with our current mission, which is to retrieve the golden balance from the branches existing in our current reality. Right. Will you stop with the election when I apologize for speaking without thinking? As I've said previously, I won't completely deny the possibility of pursuing that method. Besides, there are more inaccuracies to be addressed. More? I didn't think there was anything more for her to correct, but Faust clearly seemed to think that there was another critical error in Heathcliff's statement. And without even flinching and wearing that serious expression, she looked in the distance. This is not one of the Lobotomy Corp branches. Faust muttered. Not one of them? So this isn't a Lobotomy Corp facility? It's not a branch. You're at the Lobotomy Corp headquarters for the past. At its point in time, the branch of possibility uncertain. So this is the Broken Wing. Indeed. You find yourselves at a control team hallway with the former L Corp headquarters. I can sense the rising apprehension among the sinners. So this is where it happened. I don't remember it since it happened before my amnesia, but everyone in the city knows about that incident. The source of the blinding light that enveloped the city for days, which then sunk into utter darkness for the next. But Faust appears unaffected by the general air of anxiety over those around her. Instead, she continues to look off into the distance, away from the sinners. Maybe it's because she doesn't care. Or maybe what she already knows doesn't faze her. Are you waiting for something, Faust? I am. There's more to this volatility than the volatility phenomena we've experienced in the past. Soon it will... Before Faust finished, the lights of the corridor suddenly switched colors. It has begun. What treachery is this? Is this what they call sight burial? A different sound will play in an event of the man-cube requiring that level of response had occurred. And what the hell is this? I'm really not liking the look of that red light. They're here, ahead. I followed the tip of Faust's fingers pointing toward the same direction she'd been looking the entire time. Steam of unknown origin began to coalesce there. Is that a machine? And a bizarre machine of sorts appeared there. It's an ordeal. Color, green, time, dawn. All units! They don't need to spell out for us. Menacing pile of scraps coming this way. Everyone seemed to know that something like this was going to happen. They prepared for battle, warily eyeing the mysterious machine. That abnormality too? No, wait, it feels more like a pacatulum? And it's actually put out the immediate sense they gave off and looked to Faust. She don't know what to say. Instead of giving me an answer, however, Faust brandished the Zweihander and stepped forward. We must first suppress the entities. Dante, where are the identity cards? So yes, we do get to face off against Doubt. They're, pretty weak. Lore accurate Doubt. But, yeah. We get the control team captain as a special thing. So you gain an extra skill 3 at the cost of a skill 1. Fine by me. Yeah. Kind of see that. All the Walpurgis have, like, we had the, what was it? What was the, were you welfare team? Or were we Central Command? I think we might have been Central Command. Regardless, we had those in the Night of Despair fight, so. I believe we're, regardless of level, I think we're all brought up to level 40? 40? Yeah. Well, forced to be level 40. Which is fine. Again, the Delta are a very easy enemy. I mean, yeah, they were... Yes, that feels kind of redundant to say that Doubt is an easy enemy. The robots. But still. This Walpurgis was Magic Bullet Otis and Lantern Don Quixote. Right? Yeah. Yeah. For the IDs, and I believe Regret Merceau was also in this one. That one I'm less certain of, though. But yeah, the first Walpurgis was Hook Office Honglu and Regret Faust. And then this one, I believe, was Magic Bullet. Yeah, never mind. It definitely is Magic Bullet Otis, because the uptie art on Magic Bullet Otis has the Doubt in the background being shot through. What's the identity for third Walpurgis? What ID was the third Walpurgis? I know Wingbeat was... Oh, Sinclair. Sinclair was the... that one. Yeah, so it's Dawn Office Sinclair as well as Wingbeat. Walpurgis 4 was Red Eyes Penitence Ryoshu, Solomon Yisong, and Magic Bullet Otis Ego. Eventually, we managed to reduce the machines to a pile of scrap metal. Frau Faust, there's gotta be a reason we decided to stand our ground and fight instead of shutting the door on them, right? Yes, we stand to gain more reward by defeating them rather than by fleeing. Reward? Greg repeated, clearly expecting her to elaborate, but Faust ignored his gesture and instead began to observe the walls and items around her. What were the nature of these entities? The song stood next to Faust and began to muse alongside her. There are entities that used to appear in the Botany Corp headquarters. Entities similar yet different from the anomalies. The Botany Corp headquarters used to call them ordeals. Ordeal. I see. This corridor, which is evidently not a containment unit, is also utilized to contain certain entities as well. These monsters have a tendency to spontaneously appear during certain periods. Monsters? Like monsters of the outskirts? I suppose that is one way of looking at it. However, that comparison may grow increasingly inaccurate as we delve further into the technicalities. All I can share with you is that you will eventually come to know more of it, Dante. Like an nocturnal march of 100 demons. I like it. Oh, Dante, there's something I must inform you. Yeah? There's a high chance these ordeals or encounters of similar intensity appearing from these volatilities. I recommend challenging every occurrence of these encounters. So she says, guys. I don't really like this lighting. I welcome thy proposition! 'Tis two birds with one stone indeed. We may find entertainment as we train ourselves to be better. Except for Faust and Yi-Song, who were quietly exchanging their observations, each student began rowdily sharing their impressions. I guess it's more a reasonable proposition than let's just doze off in the bus until we find land. Hopefully Faust or Yi-Song will one day find the time to explain their findings to me. Alright, we have to keep moving. I approach the stairs to get us going. There was an actual event when this took place. I do not know what the details were about it, though. Yeah. I don't know what they were. Back to the bus! Period. Question mark. Warning, warning, land ahoy. Charon, who had been quietly holding the helm for a while, suddenly spoke up. As if on cue, everyone in the cabin simultaneously jumped up from their seats. Drew's joy at the end of this long journey was palpable. Finally, is it over? My eyes well with tears of relief. If they let us go on vacation, my reviews include any seafaring options. They've had enough of the Great Lake for one lifetime. Some cities began to visibly relax with the realization that the long lake voyage had finally come to an end. Others rushed to the windows as if they were expecting anything to have changed while we were away from the shores. You guys are being so overdramatic. Back in my sailor days, setting sail on the Great Lake meant you'd have to spend at least 3 years at the treacherous sea out of any lands in sight. I think I've heard that exact sentence a few dozen times myself, so... Agreed. You've made your point, Ishmael. Find it difficult to tolerate when you begin sharing the story for the 4th time. You guys were the ones who complained that no one had any fun stories to tell. Guess we were exchanging a few meaningless jabs at each other. Mephistopheles suddenly jerked violently, as though something had exploded. Of course, we're all probably thrown about the bus boat like rag dolls. Is everyone okay? This bloody bus come to a smooth stop for once! Wait, bus? He was right. I took a quick look around and realized that the cabins had transformed back to the shape of the bus we'd grown so used to. Karen hit the transform button. Click clack. Karen, can you give us a warning for once? Let's turn signal or something, please? Yeah, Caroline, please. Bus boats don't have any turn signals. Too bad, bug guy. I thought there was gonna be some complicated procedure to transform back into a bus. This just happens with the click of a button, huh? I thought we'd have to stop by a workshop or boat works office again. One of the many functions of Mephistopheles is that it can remember every form of property once possessed. Therefore, it follows that once it takes a certain form, it can revert to it at any of its previous forms at any time. I see. Anyway, we're finally back on land. Aren't you glad, Heathcliff? You've been looking so forward to this. Oh! Heathcliff's face lit up for a brief second before a vortex of complicated feelings overcame him. Then, I've room from less. We at Teacup? Heathcliff talked to Karen, but she did not reply. Maybe it's because he didn't call her by her name, or maybe she didn't really know where we were, either. She always drives whether her whims take her after all. This monochromatic grey hue is reminiscent of that place, indeed. Yet there is a disparity. Yeah, I suppose a different sort of monochromatic hue than whatever this is. T-Corp, District 20. I've never been there myself, but I've tangentially experienced it via Yi-Song's Fathom to Ego. That place was supposed to take our colors away, wasn't it? Have some patience, Heathcliff. You're still in the back streets. You're getting quite close to the place you know oh so well, aren't we? Regulus, you had no reason to provoke him like that. Is there a reason we're going through the back streets instead of heading straight to the nest? You're right. Why are we going through the back streets anyway? I'm curious as well. Backstreet roads are rife with danger and winding roundabout paths. Here's an unnecessary risk, does it not? I would also like to highlight the immigration process is significantly more lenient when one is migrating from nest to nest than it is when migrating from the backstreets to a nest territory. Ishmael's question for Gillis had opened up a whole new floodgate of questions from other sinners. Looks like you've grown rather chatty since we first met. You must know that it won't change how I choose to answer your questions. Ask me all you want, but not spare you the time to give you a comprehensible explanation for your convenience. So I'm asking for some explanations of being led through a questionable path. It is your job as a guide to tell us where to go, isn't it? Don't tell me you haven't been authorized to enter T-Corp's nest yet. Here I thought Limbus Company was the proper business. Sure, it's relatively new, but I thought we had rather substantial backing. We can receive proper authorization to enter most nests should we request it. And why? It's the company's will. Begilly sensed the entire hubbub on the bus with a short but low growl. My job as your guide is to plan a path toward the destination as requested by the company. Selecting this path was also part of accommodating that request. So please, know your place and shut your mouth. Perhaps the commotion was getting to him. I could tell that Vergilius was rubbing his ear out of frustration. If that's the case. With that was still apparent on Ishmael's face, she nodded affirmatively. She was acknowledging that there was little we could do about the orders from the company itself. Alarms? That alarm again. Someone listening on us or something? It was one conveniently timed alarm, don't you think? That is unlikely, don't they? Like always, Faust looked into the bus terminal before giving me a look that I've come to recognize. Another volatility to take care of, huh? Yes, it is. Another one? Didn't we just wrap up our pack for volatility? I know what this is. First with the mirror dungeons and excavation dungeons, so it's gotta be. Faust considers aircrackers growing aptitude for detection to be a positive development. Fresh and well way, innit? The bus soon filled with the sinner's exasperated sighs. So it's the bloody subway tracks again. Oh, railways really wear me out every time we enter. Well, since the last one was called Line 2, is this gonna be Line 3? And it's likely, yes, though I cannot say for certain before observing for ourselves. Dante? I know. Going through the freshman always takes a lot out of me, too. So far, each freshman will always have new and different patterns, and enemies we faced in there were all much more powerful than any other enemies we'd faced before. But it's also true that I see a noticeable improvement in most Sinner's combat prowess once we've had a run through the railway. Not to mention the copious amounts of rewards. I don't exactly remember what it was, but Faust once took the time to explain the railway's abnormalities to me. That the abnormalities we battle on the railways are probably not the same ones that exist in the world we live in. So it's not like we'll be able to capture them and bring them back, but they're perfect for practice in case we run into their real versions. Well, whichever is the case, going through the railway will be a net positive for us, so let's get going then. Took a quick glance at the Sinners, and opened the door to the back door. Except we can't do railway yet. We're close. But is it clear chapter 7? It is clear chapter 7. Canto 7, whatever. But we're close. Regardless, that will do it for this time, and next time, we shall claim their bones. But until then, see you guys later.